Hey guys, so I finally got to see The Raid 2. If you saw my review for Muppets Most Wanted, and at the end of it, I said that I was going to go see The Raid 2 and then never did. And that's mainly because no theater around me was playing it a couple weeks ago when it got a limited release. Usually, theaters in Cleveland, which is about an hour away from me. If you don't know, I live in Ohio, which is you know Cleveland's about an hour away from me, and usually small independent films usually get even when they're or small releases get to theaters in Cleveland because Cleveland's kind of a big city. And it didn't, so I was really upset. I was like, God damn it! I really wanted to see this movie. And then to my surprise, this week I found out my theater that I always go to locally was carrying The Raid 2. And it's like, alright, I finally go see this film. If you don't know, The Raid 2 is a sequel to The Raid Redemption. If you haven't seen The Raid Redemption, I highly recommend finally going to check that flick out, especially before you go see this film. Um, it definitely helps. But The Raid Redemption is what many people, including me, consider one of the best action movies in a long time. Some people have even said it's one of the best action movies ever made since Die Hard, for God's sake, and that's saying a lot. And it is. It's a really good fucking film. It's a simple, small little plot about this elite group of cops who go into this apartment complex to take down a drug lord who lives on the top floor. It's like a 30-story building, and the drug lord tells all his tenants that if any of them kill these elite cops, he will let them live in this apartment for free. So, of course, all the tenants are trying to kill them, and it's nothing but awesome action sequences, a lot of great fucking fight scenes, and it's mainly just martial art. It's all martial arts, and it is. I will warn you if you haven't seen it. It's a movie that is in a foreign language. It's made in Indonesia and it is subtitled. But if you get through that, you'll be okay. I mean, for God's sakes, I know some people don't like to read movies, but fucking you can live with that. Especially if it's a fucking action movie. I have no problem with foreign language films, especially if they're fucking good. They can keep my interest. This one did. It definitely was really fun. It was not a character driven plot, very character heavy plot. Even though the main actor was very good in it, it did have. But the thing that really stuck out about that movie was the fight sequences in it. The fight sequences were fantastic, particularly the one at the end where the two brothers are fighting the main bodyguard of the drug lord. His name's like Mad Dog, and this guy, if you haven't seen the movie, this guy does not like to use weapons like machetes or machine guns. He only likes to use his fist and his feet as weapons, and he kills and obliterates people with each one of them. And he, even though he's in a 2-on-1 situation against these brothers, he kicks their fucking ass. And even when one of the brothers jabs him in the neck with a broken light fixture, he still is kicking their ass. And it isn't until like 2 minutes later until they finally fucking kill him. It's a really great sequence. I don't know who that guy was, but he's fucking great. And I was really, even though I really liked the first one and I was kind of like intrigued with this one, I was kind of also at the same time wondering why the hell they were making a sequel. Because really, let's be honest, The Raid 2 didn't make me, think, oh god, this movie needs a sequel. I mean, it just leaves everything open. I didn't think it really did. I thought it was like, you know what, if this was just a standalone film, it would be fine. But they decided to make a sequel, and I was like, alright, I'm kind of intrigued to what they can do next with this. And from the trailers, it looked like they were doing something different, not just being a copy and paste sequel, kind of sequel. And it was also being directed by the same guy who made the first one, and his name is Gareth Evans. And Gareth Evans is a guy who ever since I saw the Raid Redemption, I've been intrigued by him, and I've also been following a lot of his movies as of late. Especially, he also did the VHS 2 movie segment called Safe Haven. If you haven't seen VHS 2, go watch maybe just the segment Safe Haven, and you'll be fine. That segment is awesome. It proved that he can also make a really fucking solid horror film. And I actually want to see him next. If he, I don't know what he'll do next, but I hope it's a horror film. Because Safe Haven was awesome. I highly recommend it. So I was really intrigued what he would do if the follow up to Raid Redemption. I was worried that going in that this also had a running time of 2.5 hours. Literally, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. And that kind of worried me. But you know what? I can say I actually liked this movie. I thought this was a pretty solid follow up to the Raid Redemption. It's not as good as the first one, but it is still a pretty solid flick. I highly recommend it, especially if you've seen you like the first one. It has a lot of the same things that you'll like if you like the first one. You'll like about this one, especially the fight sequences in this film. This movie is more of an actor-driven film, honestly, and it has some pretty damn solid performances. The main guy who plays Rama, I'm trying to look up his name here so I try to get his name right. As Iko Uwais, I know I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. I don't speak Indonesian, any of that stuff. That's the language I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, he's really good. I think he's a pretty solid actor, and he's also a really awesome action star. I'm not like a martial arts guy. I want to say that too. I'm not a big martial arts fan, especially of films. But this series of films has been very fantastic. And he is a really awesome martial artist. He kicks some ass, and this is like a tribute of a guy, an actor, doing his own stunts and stuff like that. There's no point in this film where you think, oh, that's just a stunt double or anything like that. You can tell that's him, and he kicks fucking ass throughout this film, and he's awesome in this. I really like him, and he has some pretty solid acting moments in this film. He's not just like an action or a martial artist that can't really act. He has some acting abilities in there. I also like the son, the guy who played the son of the drug lord in this film. He basically the guy from the first one is going undercover into this other crime family to try to take it down from the inside out and try to take down the corrupt cops that are inside of it. He's hired by this guy that he meets pretty much literally 2 hours after the events of the first one. I mean, this movie literally starts off from the 2 hours after the first one. And you are given. I'll say that also about the main actor. You definitely understand his motivations as to why he's going back and doing this shit, because his family is at risk, as you find out right at the beginning. Spoiler alert: this happens right at the beginning, though. His brother from the first one gets killed by one of the other drug lords, and it's a pretty impactful scene, and he realizes then that his family is in danger. Him and his family are in danger, and this guy comes to him and offers him to try to help him take down these other drug lords, and maybe he and his family will be safe then. And the son, I thought, was really good in this film. Of the main drug lord in this film was good. It does have the stereotypical, he's trying to take over his dad's duties, but his dad won't step down, stuff like that. It has a stereotypical kind of storyline in it, but he's a pretty solid actor. I thought he was good. I like the guy who was what the hell was his name? Oh, give me 1 second, because I have to look up these names, because it's been a couple hours since I've seen this movie, so give me a second. Bijo, the guy that basically influences him to turn on his dad. The son to turn on his dad, and try to take over the business for himself. And he's really good in this. He's really good in this too. Also, they also have some pretty memorable fighters in this movie, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But this movie also has some really cool moments in the fact that it does feature some of Gareth Evans' past actors, some of the past actors that have worked with Gareth Evans in other films like Safe Haven and also The Raid Redemption. The guy who plays the bodyguard to the drug lord, Ika, who is also the lead in the Safe Haven segment, is in this movie. He's really good. It was kind of cool to see. I was like, oh yeah, that's a lead from the Safe Haven. I liked them in that. And also, the guy who played the cult leader in Safe Haven was in this movie. I was told that going in that he was going to be in this movie, and I was really intrigued because I gave him so much praise for his role in Safe Haven. I thought he was creepy and really fucking eerie and just disturbing, really disturbing in that little short segment, and he left enough of an impact. He has a short role in this film where he plays, I guess, a porn producer that produces some really fucking weird pornos, because when you introduce to this character, he go into this like warehouse where he's shooting these pornos, and in the background this woman is fucking a guy who's bent over with a strap-on dildo, and then she comes walking out with this strap-on huge fucking black dildo. No joke. I haven't seen a mainstream movie, do shit like that. You rarely ever see a movie do something like that, or show shit like that. That was kind of disturbing, but that was kind of memorable. It's like, what the fuck is that? And the guy is has a very short role in this film, but he's really good. I really like him as an actor. I hope to see him in more shit. That guy's plays very sleazy and creepy very fucking well. Also, to my surprise, it took me a while, but to my surprise, the guy who played Mad Dog in this movie is in this movie too. Or that was it. Who played Mad Dog in the first one is in this movie too, but he's playing a completely different character. That was weird. That was kind of weird. It took me back. It's like, that guy looks familiar. Like when he popped up in this movie, I'm like, that guy looks familiar. What the fuck did he? I know he's been in the first one, but I swore he died in the first one. I'm like, can't be the guy who used his hands and feet as weapons, because he died in the first one. I was like, oh, who the hell is it? And I found out it was the same actor, but he's just playing a different character. And he's really fucking good in this. He has a short role in this, and he's memorable in this one. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I'm looking up his name. Let me look up his name real quick. God damn. I know I'm going to mispronounce it, so I apologize for that. Yayan Ruin? I don't know. Who plays Picasso, who plays Bangoon's most loyal and dedicated assassin who gets exiled, or basically. Who's the guy, he basically is the guy that looks like a homeless person. He gives a little bit of backstory about it, and he's really fucking awesome. He has some really awesome moments in this movie. He's really good. He's fucking awesome in this movie. Really, really recommend him in it. Like I said, that's the main actors I could think off the top of my head. The thing that made this movie really fucking good, in my opinion, was the fucking action, the fight sequences. The fight sequences in this movie were great. They're just as good, maybe if not better than the ones in the first one. Although, I don't know. I mean, both of them are just so good that I can't really compare the one or the other. They definitely make this movie like they made the first one. Ones I really liked were the one at the beginning and at where the guy's sitting on the toilet, the main guy's sitting on the toilet, and all these guys are trying to beat the shit out, come through the door and beat the shit out of them, and it's a great fucking fight sequence. Really awesome. Really well done. I like the one where they're fighting in the mud in the prison yard. That was great. My particular favorite one in the whole movie was the one where the guy played Mad Dog in the first one, and his only fight sequence in the film. Well, actually, one of his fight sequences in the film. He actually has another one. A bunch of army of guys come after him, and he basically fights off all these armies of this army of guys, just obliterates them one by one by one by one, and even gets stabbed a million times and still is just fucking everybody up. It's great. And spoiler alert, his character dies, gets killed, and you're like, God damn it, I wish that character would live longer, because that character is pretty awesome. I wanted to see more of him. I wanted to see him kind of play a big part at the end of this movie. That would have been fun. I enjoyed him in that action sequence in the nightclub was awesome. I can't do it justice. Also, the one at the end where the main guy and I forget who it was, one of the bodyguards fight in the kitchen, and just basically just blood everywhere. There's fucking blood everywhere. This movie's gory as hell. This movie, I'm surprised, got a rated R, because it's one of those like movies that it's raw and gritty, and the violence is real, and it's just really hard to watch at times. Like the first one, like bones breaking and fucking faces get smashed in and heads getting shot off. And, oh god, it's bad. It has some really nasty effects, and this one might be a little bit more violent than the first one. I've heard a lot of people complain about that. It is a little bit more violent than the first one. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the first one, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, the fight sequences in this movie, and they're really well directed, well shot, well edited, well choreographed. They're really well done, and Gareth Evans definitely deserves a lot of praise. He is a very interesting director. Like, the way he makes these scenes are really interesting. There's a lot of times where it's just still shots, one shot that lingers for a while, and it is really effective. He lets a shot just sit there and linger, and there are a lot of shots just where there's no edits. There's a lot of times where there are no edits in the film, and you notice that, and it's really well done. It's just moving the camera around and around. It's really well done. It's really, like I said, it's really well edited. It does have a lot of shaky cam, and that can be bothering at some points, but honestly, I had no problem. This is one of the few times where I have no problem with the shaky cam in this movie, because I can still tell what the fuck is going on. At least I could tell what's going on. When I have a problem with shaky cam is when you can't tell what the fuck is going on. It gets really confusing. And this one, I had no problem with that. Maybe, I would say the only action sequence that maybe was hard to tell what was going on was, and this wasn't because of the camera work, was the scene when they're fighting in the mud. It was still a good sequence, but sometimes you can tell, who's that guy again? Who's he fighting? Who's that person? You know, sometimes it was kind of hard, and that was mainly because they were all rolling in mud. I think mainly, and honestly, even though this movie is 2.5 hours, and if you're like me, was kind of concerned about it being 2.5 hours long, this movie goes by very fucking quickly. It does. It actually really does. It honestly does. The first time I checked my clock, it was like 1 hour and 20 minutes into this fucking film. I'm like, wow, this was going by very fucking quickly. So I just, I still had 1 hour left of this movie. I'm like, this is going by very quickly. I thought I was like, not that long into the film, and I was really surprised. Also, this movie is kind of more story driven and character driven than the first one. The first one just basically just put you right into the action sequences, the fight scenes, like right away. Like it give you a little bit of backstory about the main actor and everything else, and that's about it. And then they just put you right into the fight scenes. The pretty much the movie almost opens right when the cops go to the building. In this one, it kind of has a bit more of a slow build towards the fight sequences and stuff like that, and it's the fight sequences pay off enough that you are okay. I was okay with the slow build toward them. But I did have a problem with this movie, and this is something that it's kind of a stupid complaint, I know, but with a movie like this where you have like subtitles and stuff like that, you have to read it. Sometimes the subtitles go way too fucking fast for my reading. Apparently, I can't read fast enough because sometimes I was just like, like subtitles just go by fast, and I'm like, oh fuck, what did he say there? I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, go back. I know I was sitting there like, man, I wish I was just watching this at home so I didn't miss parts of dialogue which seemed like they were really important. And sometimes I missed key parts of dialogue and I was kind of confused, but I mean, I would start to get. I would kind. Even though I missed key parts of dialogue, I still kind of got the gist of what was going on. This is a movie I'd probably have to watch again because there's probably stuff I missed that I didn't. This movie also kind of, unless I'm wrong about this, kind of leaves the movie open for a third one. It seems like it, and it kind of ends this movie, honestly, where it starts getting really good. I was kind of like, I was like, I don't think it should have ended there, but maybe they're setting up for a third one. I don't know. I don't know if they are or not. Which I'll be fine with. I'll go see the third one. Definitely will. I could see why they would make a third one. Unlike the first one, I see more reason for a sequel. Yeah, I recommend this movie. I definitely do. If you watched the first one and loved the first one as much as I did, you'll like this one too. It's not as good as the first one, I will say that, but in my opinion, I just kind of like the first one a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I kind of like a little bit more of a simple story. And that's what really the first one was, and it was really effective for what it was. This movie it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's a 2.5 hour sit that went by very quickly. As far as previews, I didn't really get anything new. Actually, I got a bunch of new stuff, but it was all independent films that I've now forgotten about. It didn't look really that interesting. I like Dom Hemingway, that one of Jude Law that I keep seeing commercials for. It looks like Jude Law's gonna be having a lot of fun in that role. That's about it. That's all I can say about that. I forget what other. There was a Nazi film movie about a Jew pretending to be a Nazi or something to try to infiltrate the Nazi organization and also try to save Jews from the prison camps or something like that. It was something like that. I can't remember. I forgot what the fuck that was called. Stand With My Enemy or something like that. And what the fuck was that weird vampire movie that they got one with Melda Staunton and not Melda Staunton, not Melda Staunton. God damn it, who the fuck was that? Someone actress that such a weird actress that has such a weird face, but she's really good. The one who played the White Witch in the Narnia film. God dang it, I'm forgetting her name. I'm gonna remember after a review, but it has her and Tom Hiddleston, Loki from Thor, who they're vampires and it's some weird love story, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Fuck that. It looked like a really stupid indie film. It looked boring as sin. I didn't have no interest in that. Also got like weird trailers like Million Ways to Die in the West, which still looks very funny, and Deliver Us from Evil, which, okay. No one say I've talked about that one too. But yeah, I recommend this movie. Go see it. I'll be back to next week. Probably, I don't know when I'll be back next week, but I'll be back next week with, I don't know what, maybe Oculus, which I'm hearing good things about. Transcendence, or that Disney nature documentary Bears is another one that looks kind of interesting. So I don't know, one of those. Next couple weeks are really nothing weeks, so I'll just probably be a catch up. Also, my cheap theater just got the film Bad Words with Jason Bateman, which I've been hearing good things about. Looks really funny. So I might be coming. My next review might be one for that one. So until then, I will talk to you guys later.